All right, we are live. Just gonna make sure the links are up and running. Let's see, we're live on Facebook. We're live on Twitter. And we are good to go on the tube. Toast, are you here with me?
Thing just hold my camera in it, but I got it. We're good. I'm always
All
here with
right.
you, bro. I got
It
you.
was all blurry. I was like, all right. All right, so real quick, thanks everybody for joining us. If you're tuned in, Sean Redden here, joined with Toast, probably familiar with him, and us from the Sauce Network. We're going to preview everything March Madness. We did it last year, got a good review, so wanted to run it back again this year. We had a lot of success, so hopefully that carries over into this season as well. And I want to thank Toast for joining me on his vacation out in Arizona. Well, not vacation, but because he's still working his ass off with all the college basketball games. But he's out in Arizona for the World Baseball Classic. How's that been?
It's been awesome, man. Honestly, I can't tell you how fun it's been. I've been just being able to bring the family in to watch all the baseball and stuff like that. Really, really fun. They did a really, really good job with it this year.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a bucket list thing. If I still lived in Florida, I would definitely be trying to get down to Miami for the quarterfinals and semis, no matter how
Yeah, it's
much it
not,
costs. But
and it's not that expensive either, so it's nice. Like
wow,
makes things nice. Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, that's definitely a plus. All right, let's jump into this tournament again. We're gonna preview the whole bracket, at least all the first round matchups. But the playing games tonight: Fairleigh Dickinson playing Texas Southern, and then Nevada playing Arizona State. Do you have any? I actually don't have anything for these games. I'm gonna wait till Thursday and Friday. Mississippi State last night broke my heart, so I'm staying off these playing games.
Yeah, so I played Arizona State and Texas Southern. It's so public now that I'm just gonna just pretend like I didn't say that out loud.
All right, that
So,
works for me.
but hey, Mississippi State was like super, super public yesterday, and that was super fine. So, to be honest, Texas Southern, now that I'm looking at the money, it's not as public as before, but it's still 65% of the bets, 58% of the money on Texas Southern. I do think that they're the clear cut, much better team. But yeah, it's kind of hard. And then I don't know where the money is at on that Arizona State game. I don't have that in front of me, but I can assume. Oh, yeah, there you go. 79% of the bets, 87% of the money on Arizona State.
Wow. Okay. So if you're looking to fade the public, maybe you want to sprinkle a little bit on Nevada there. Okay, so moving on to Thursday, I guess we'll just go top to bottom. So we have Arizona playing Texas A&M CC, not the Aggies. Get that confused. Alabama is a 24-point favorite. Obviously, I'm sure we're both going to advance Alabama, and I'm honestly not interested in laying the 24 points though. So as a betting standpoint, it's probably going to be a stay away for me.
Yeah, so I'm going to pull up the money really quick because I can't memorize all the money for all of these games. But I can tell you right now, I'm looking to take 24 points with Corpus Christi. They've been in this tournament a while. I don't think that you're going to get them, especially after playing a game under their belt. I don't think you're going to have to worry too much about them finding their shots. It's not going to be at the same stadium and whatnot, but that doesn't bother me. I don't think they have money up for that game yet, but our friends over at Shot Quality like 69-89. That's given us like a 4.5 point little edge on Texas A&M Corpus Christi. I don't hate taking the points here. Look, Alabama is one of those teams. I'm not trying to, for 1 second, trying to say Alabama's going to get upset. That's not what I'm trying to say. But what I am trying to say is that Alabama shoots a lot of three balls and gets up and down. Well, guess what? Corpus Christi can do the same thing. They can shoot too. So neutral 4. with a team that's already played under the lights, I probably lean towards the plus 24 points. That's just me.
I like it. Yeah, like I said, when I seen the line, I was like, I'm not interested in laying 24 with this Alabama team. I didn't know a lot about A&M Corpus Christi, so I was like, I probably can't take the plus 24. But if you're interested in that, Tosh just made a good case to where the points may be valuable in that matchup. The move to the 8-9 game, Maryland versus West Virginia. I kind of like the Terps in this one, in a game where I feel like West Virginia is going to come out be the more physical team, but I think Maryland is the more talented team than the Mountaineers here, and I think they get it done.
Yeah, this is one of the harder matchup questions for me with Maryland and West Virginia. Both teams really, I think that they could have been better coming into the year. I mean, both top 20 or top 23 KenPom teams. Um, West Virginia, I'm going to side with West Virginia, and it pains me to do that only because I was on Team Turf for a long time. But what they've been able to do away from home, I just can't get away from that. So if this game was maybe played in Maryland, maybe I would be there. But I think I'm going to take a little bit of run or a little bit of try with this West Virginia team. I like what Bob Higgins is doing, or Bob Huggins has been able to do with that team. But yeah, West Virginia -2 is a little bit public as well, though. So if you're trying to be a little bit more sharper, Maryland plus the points is there. But as far as just a win goes, I lean West Virginia. I haven't bet anything in that game, though.
I like it. Yeah, if I do anything in that game, I'm probably not even going to take the points. It would probably be Maryland money line in that one because I am going to advance the Terps in my bracket. Okay, so the 5-12 game. This is a bet that I have already placed. San Diego State is taking on Charleston. San Diego State is a 5-point favorite, and it kind of broke my heart selection Sunday. I did like how the matchups came out overall for this first round, but I had teams that I planned on making a little bit of a Cinderella run. One of them was Charleston, one of them was Colgate. I think both teams get slaughtered in their first round matchups, and it broke my heart because I was like, I have to fade my Cinderella darlings. But yeah, I'm all over the Aggies here. I already laid the 5, and I feel really great about it.
Yeah, couldn't say it any different than you did right there. To be dead honest with you, Charleston. Look, there's no question this team. What they have done this year is impressive. To have 31 wins in a season is extremely impressive. This isn't like a bet against them. I just want to make that very clear. This is not a bet against Charleston. If they were playing almost any other team in the country, I would be probably betting Charleston. But the issue is that San Diego State is a team that was picked in the beginning of the year to be a Final Four type of team. That's the type of players they have with Matt Bradley and Darian Trammell and Lamont Butler and Keshad Johnson and the Parrish kid. They got defense. They got size. Bradley can score on certain times. They got experience. They're a top 20 experience team. Everything that you would like for a tournament team, San Diego State has, starting with that defense. That's a top 10 defense in the country. The Charleston, it's offense versus defense, but look, Charleston is going to live and die by the 3 ball. We've seen that in a lot of their games. Usually it's them getting to a hot start and then cooling down in the second half. Charleston, unfortunately, you're facing a San Diego State defense that's number 7th in the country at allowing teams to only shoot 29.2% from beyond the arc. That means they're going to have to get a lot of shots inside the arc. I don't know if I can see that with them. So I think this is a double-digit victory for San Diego State.
Couldn't agree more. I literally have right here in my notes, I think this is a double-digit win for San Diego State. They're just too efficient at the rim, and like you said, they guard the 3 ball among the best in the country. Hate it for Charleston. Thought they had a good season, and just a shitty matchup for them round 1.
Best part, cherry on top, 63% of the bets are on Charleston as well. So we're getting, I think, the much better team that no one's really betting on right now, which makes me even more excited.
Right. There's a few teams I feel like we're going to hit in this during the show where like they're dogs, but they're like gonna be pretty public dogs. I feel like because like just flipping through like ESPN and stuff during the since Selection Sunday, there's a few teams that are just like almost like analysts like buzz teams, and I'm just like, nah. Like the name, yeah, during the regular season, absolutely, but not with these matchups. But yeah, we'll hit them as we come up to them. Now the next game is Charleston, Virginia, the 4 seed taking on Furman, the 13 seed in this game. I believe Virginia is Virginia is a 5.5 point favorite. And I can already tell you that not only do I plan on taking Furman plus the 5.5, I'm gonna actually sprinkle the money line and then I'm advancing them in my bracket to get the upset round one. 81.9% of Furman's possessions come with the shot at the rim or from three per shot quality. So they're getting valuable possessions, and they're the 22nd best team in the country at shot selection per shot quality. Their defense does concern me, but when you're playing a team like Virginia, whose leading scorer has like 12 points, I'm not really worried about their offense being able to run it up. Am I crazy, or do you feel that sentiment?
You're a little crazy. Look. I can't obviously argue with anything that you said. My issue with that is that Furman is everybody's darling, which is fine. But if you take a look at their schedule and stuff, obviously they haven't necessarily played a team like Virginia. You don't need me to tell you that. But my issue is that when they only played a couple teams up this year, they lost big to NC State. They were able to keep it close with Penn State, but besides that, look, I just think that Virginia is one of those teams that I think that we're kind of sleeping on right now. Again, I'm not trying to say that Virginia is going to make a run, but we're getting arguably the most experienced team in the country with Virginia, with a top 20 defense against a team in Furman that probably going to be a little bit shell shocked coming through. So can Furman make some shots? I mean, what's that kid's name? Bothwell and Pegas or whatever their names are. Marcus Foster can shoot the ball too. So Furman's got players, but you're talking about a fifth year player in Kei Clark and Reese Beckman and Jaden Gardner. Those guys are big time players for Virginia, big time recruits too. So I'm not laying it with Virginia as far as the points, but I did do a Virginia Duke money line parlay. I don't have it in front of me what it came out to, but it should be pretty close to even money or just around that. And that's how I did it. I think Virginia wins. I don't really feel like laying the points with a team like Virginia that's not necessarily going to be pushing the pace. 343 in average possession length. So that's another reason I'm glad I made that out. That's one other reason I don't love Furman here. You got a team in Furman that loves to play fast, top 50 in average possession length against a team in Virginia who's not only experienced, that's going to slow this game down and wants to play it in the mud. That might bother Furman a little bit. We'll see. It's the beauty of the tournament, but I think Virginia moves on.
I like it. As long as I get the 5.5, I'm cool with it. Virginia can advance. When I'm filling out these bracket challenges, though, I'm going for the upset points. So hopefully Furman can get it. Well, no, for your sake, I hope they just cover the 5.5. But now we're moving on. The 6-11 game is Creighton versus NC State. This is going to be a pretty good matchup, in my opinion. I'm expecting a really good game here. Creighton plays on Friday, I believe. Trying to find the line here. Yes, Creighton minus 5.5 versus NC State. Are you laying the points here with the Blue Jays or taking them with the Wolfpack?
I'm taking them with the Wolfpack, dog. Look, I know I don't know if NC State wins this game or not, but I can tell you right now they got Travion Smith, Jarkel Joyner, and Sauce's favorite DJ Burns. I understand that Nemhard, Shireman, Trey Alexander, Arthur Kaluma, Ryan Kalkbrenner. It's very, very scary to fade that team. This Creighton team has been fantastic since Kalkbrenner came back. But have they? Because that's like the narrative that they've been so good. They lost to Marquette. They lost to Villanova. They lost to Xavier. Again, all those teams, better than NC State, yeah. But if you take a look at like what Xavier does with Xavier, I mean, I can see similarities in those teams with Sule Boom and Colby Jones and Jack Nungy and Fremantle. That's a very similar lineup to what I just gave you with NC State. Um, NC State's going to have to take shots and make shots. There's no question about that. But I just think that this game plays a little bit closer than we're giving them credit to. I'm taking the points with NC State. I think that the guard play with Joyner and Smith is just ridiculous. They're one of the more experienced teams in the country. I think they're 44th in the country in experience. Both teams kind of play fast. And NC State, number 4 in the country in turnover percentage. They do not turn the ball over. I'm taking the points with the Wolfpack.
I like it. It would be NC State or nothing for me, but I do think Creighton gets it done and advances. So now that takes us to the next game is Baylor versus Santa Barbara. And
The Gauchos.
again, maybe you're gonna say I'm crazy, but I'm taking the 10.5 here with Santa Barbara, and I think the Bears are on upset alert. Hold on, my toast is frozen on my screen.
Really?
Nope, now you're back. Yeah, I couldn't. After I said they might be on upset alert, I didn't hear anything.
Oh, I was going to say, because usually it's on my end and I can see and hear everything. But yeah, look, I don't know. I think that Baylor losing 4 of their last 6 games puts a little bit of a sour taste in your mouth. But look, this Gaucho team, man, I don't know. I remember late in February, they lost 3 games in a row. They've been on a little bit of a roll now, but this is a pretty big step up in class with Baylor. Yeah, it's a hard one for me. I think Baylor wins here. I'm not confident to lay the points. I think they win. So I'll wish you luck on taking the 10.5. Shot quality has it at about 9 or 10 anyway. So it's definitely not crazy to take the 10.5 with the Gauchos, but I'm just not there. Maybe it's just because I do have a little bit of affection for this Baylor team. They're one of the teams that I do think that's a little bit undervalued, but it's hard to make a case for them right now. So we'll definitely have to see how it all plays out. But I have a lean toward Baylor, but I'm definitely not laying the 10.5. Not a chance.
Got it. Sounds good to me. Yeah, Baylor is a team that I feel like every time I play them this year, after the game I ask myself, like, they've already taught you that they're not as good as you think they are. And I always hate myself in the end. But like you said, they're a team with a ton of talent, and maybe they can put it together here in the tournament and make a run. So now the 7-10
And they have a coach.
region.
And they have a coach. I was just going to say, and they have a coach that's won a title before, so he knows what he's doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's actually really valuable for teams in the tournament when you have a coach who knows how to get himself through a tournament.
One last thing. Just before I don't know if you've placed that Gaucho bet, but they're actually really public. 70% of the money, 60% of the bets are on the Gauchos plus 10.5.
I have not placed it yet, but now maybe it will be a stay away from me.
Didn't expect that, to say the least. So,
do you think the public actually knows about Santa Barbara?
I think the public sees Baylor losing 4 of 6, and probably takes 10.5. I'm not sure though. I mean, I have a hard time believing. When I think of the public, I think of more East Coast people, like wise guys. I know that that's kind of stupid to think, but because of the time zone in general. Right. So I think you're getting East Coast money first. And with that, I don't think you have a lot of teams seeing the Gauchos. So I mean, if they're taking money, that tells me that it's more of a bet against Baylor than anything else, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I can agree with that for sure. Okay, so the 7-10 matchup is Missouri versus Utah State. So another out west team, Utah State. I know you know a lot about them. You probably know more about them than a lot of people in the country. They are a 1-point favorite here over the Missouri Tigers. This is another game where personally right now I'm staying away. I don't know if you have a play on it or not. But I did advance Utah State just for the upset points in my bracket. But I think this is a pretty close toss-up matchup.
Yeah, this is a really hard one to make a point for either way, as far as like, oh, I'm picking this team because of this on either one of these teams is really hard. Missouri's been definitely up and down this year, but what they've leaned on is more or less their experience and their ability to shoot the three ball. But guess what? Utah State does the same exact thing. Utah State's 27th in experience, Missouri 17th in experience. 38.5%. That's 11th in the country shooting the three ball for Utah State. 36% for Mississippi. So, I mean, it's very, very close. Their offenses are very similar. But I'm giving the edge to Utah State here because I think that the numbers are much drastic. Missouri playing defense is god awful. They turn you over, but if they don't turn you over, it's almost like open season. It doesn't matter if you're shooting three balls, going to the rack. It doesn't matter. They essentially turn you over or you go get a bucket. And I don't really trust that with this Utah State team, man. Their experience, they got that Stephen Ashworth kid, Max Fluga, who's pretty damn good, that shoots it from over 36% from behind the arc. Barstow is another guy, Sean Barstow, he shoots it at like 38%. Taylor Funk is a 6'9" guy that can shoot three balls. Every single person on that team is 6'9" that shoots Utah State. Missouri coming in at number 284. So I think that we have, let's just call it even shooting teams. We have a better defensive team in Utah. We got a bigger team in Utah State. I'm taking Utah State to advance.
I like it. Lines up with my thoughts. I think it's going to be a pretty good game, but in the end, like you just said, I believe Utah State gets it done. Toast just dropped out of my feed. I'm gonna give him some time. Hopefully, he pops back in. Here he is. We're back.
Sorry, dude.
All good. That was real quick. It was like 15 seconds, maybe. So now we're moving on to the 2-15, which is Arizona versus the Ivy League champ Princeton. Arizona's a 14-point favorite, and I'm going to tell you now, I have no problem laying the 14 here. There's no doubt that Arizona is one of the top teams in the country, one of the most talented teams in the country. A team that kind of in the tournament has that aura around them that they can't get it done. They're one of those teams, at least recently, since the early 2000s, haven't been able to get it done. That being said, I think Princeton, after battling in the Ivy League, which is a pretty, not a tough league, but this is a competitive league with Penn and Yale as well being pretty solid teams. And now they have to travel all the way out west and play this super talented Arizona team. I think they get steamrolled in this one.
Yeah, it's hard. It's look, I always sit here, especially with the types of games when it's like a high seed versus a low seed. I'm always, and I'm sure you are too, trying to find a way to take the dog in some way, shape, or form. And there's just I just can't figure it out here, to be honest with you. I would love to come on here and say that, I'd love to take Princeton because they're a top 75 3-point shooting team. Well, guess what? Arizona is one of the top defensive 3-point teams in the country. Teams only shoot about 32.8% from deep from them. And then on top of that, Arizona is one of the best 3-point shooting teams. They're actually one of the best offenses in the country. Number 3 in effective field goal percentage, number 4 in adjusted efficiency. Experience, height. They have everything that you could ask for. 14.5 is a lot on a neutral. But I think Arizona absolutely rolls here.
Love it. Yep. Same thing. I looked at it. I was just like, yeah, this is a 25-point Arizona win, I feel like. So if you're only going to give me 2 touchdowns, I'm going to lay it. Real quick, you don't have to answer the question, but if you do, then obviously it would be nice. Who do you think makes it out of this region?
Who do I think or who do I want?
You can give me both.
All right. I would like to see Arizona make it through because of Tommy Lloyd. But my money is on San Diego State.
Love it. Love it. Dude, I mean, we talked about this a couple of days ago. I was just like, I was like Alabama, San Diego State, Sweet 16, and you were just like, Yeah, I think I have San Diego State winning that game, and I'm like, that's going to be such a good matchup.
So here's the thing. Just I won't go into it a lot, but I do like their matchup against Charleston. I think they are going to play Virginia, and those two teams clash, and I just don't really trust Virginia to that point. I think that you're going to get a nice little some value with San Diego State, and then you're going to play an Alabama team that I'm not trying to look to fade early, but when it comes down to here after a couple neutral courts, with the media getting to them and stuff like that, I want to fade Alabama against a team like San Diego State that loves to play defense. It's not going to let Alabama get into their sets and threes that they want to. It's going to be hard to push the transition against the San Diego State team. So I'm just trying to find a dog or a smaller seed that's going to make a run. I know that Charleston's a favorite 12-5 upset, but I think that San Diego State, especially at the number, could make it out of this region.
Agreed. I like it. I think, well, Arizona obviously has a shot as the 2 seed. They're
Yeah.
a very good team, but I think that Alabama San Diego State team, the winner of that game, has a good chance. Well, if they play, it's Sweet 16. If they both avoid the upsets, if San Diego State and Alabama win, the winner of that game has a good chance to make the Final Four. So yeah, I think San Diego State is worth a stab to make it out of that region for sure. Now moving on to the East region, where everybody's favorite number 1 seed, Purdue, is playing. Purdue is going to take on the winner of tonight's play-in game between Texas Southern and Fairleigh Dickinson. So there's no line out there yet, but I'm assuming we're both going to go ahead and advance Purdue.
Yeah, Purdue.
Yeah.
No question. Like I said, Texas Southern is actually not a bad team. I actually like them tonight. Not now; they're like super public, but yeah, Texas Southern's pretty damn decent. But like I said, it's really hard to figure out a way that they're going to beat Purdue, at least in this round.
Right. All right, so that moves us to the 8-9, which is an intriguing matchup. Memphis, one of the hottest teams in the country, obviously just won the American Conference with a big win over Houston, but they're taking on one of the more, I guess I want to call them underrated FAU, 31-3 on the year. They're a pretty solid team that I feel like not a lot of people probably know about. That being said, I'm going to take Memphis and I'm going to lay the points here. And I'm going to be really confident about it. And
Yep, same here.
You share my thoughts.
Absolutely. I have Memphis pretty deep into this tournament. It's one of those things where they are one of the teams that I really wanted to play on hard. It really sucks for the matchup that they drew because they're going to have to play Duke in the Sweet 16 if they all advance. And Duke's one of those teams that I do think is winning or can win a few games in this tournament as well. But yeah, this Memphis team, man, I can't tell you enough how much I really, really like of what they've done down the stretch. Since February, well, let's just say since February started, they've lost 3 games, 2 of them to Houston, which is fine, and then they lost an overtime game to Tulane. It is what it is. They're kids, but like I said, since then they've been fine. They beat Houston to rectify those losses or whatever you guys want to call it. And then they also beat Tulane in that American Conference tournament as well. So all 3 losses that they've taken in the last month, they've rectified those. Keep in mind, this is a team in Memphis that played Alabama, the number 1 seed, to 3 points earlier this year. They also played Seton Hall. They lost by 1 to them. So it is very hard to beat this Memphis team. By a lot, let alone beat them by double digits. The couple guys on this team you have to pay attention to: Kendrick Davis, one of the better point guards in this country by sure. DeAndre Williams, Elijah McCaden. A couple names you're going to need to know as well too. Again, not to take away anything that Florida Atlantic has done. They've been fantastic. Obviously, 31 wins is nothing to scoff at. But at the same time, I don't really love the matchup. You're facing a Memphis team. Again, you're going to hear me talk about this a lot. Guard play, experience, size, defense. Experience level, Memphis, number 11 in the country in defense. Florida Atlantic, number 144. Again, Memphis is going to slow it down. They're number 17 in pace, but number 26 in offensive efficiency. And guess what? Memphis can play defense too. They're 36 in the country in defensive efficiency as well. I just think it's going to be a little bit too much. I think Memphis is chomping at the bit here, especially after beating Houston. I know that they're flying high. Yeah, I like them, and I actually like Memphis to win a couple games this year in the tournament.
I am with you on that point, and I'm glad you brought up the things that you look for in the tournament, because that was going to be my only point that I made after your analysis was the three things that I love to look for in teams in the tournament when I'm talking about a team making a run: defense, guard play, and experience. And as you pointed out, Memphis has all three. Kendrick Davis, in my opinion, is a top 2 point guard in the country, maybe even the best point guard in the country right now, with the level that he's playing on. So yeah, Memphis has a good one. And honestly, I gotta give credit to Penny Hardaway, because last year and even early this year, I was looking to fade them a lot because I didn't think he knew what he was doing. I thought he was in over his head, but he has his team playing really well, and I think he's actually been a pretty solid coach so far.
Yep, I couldn't agree more.
Now is the Kyle Kerms Bowl. Duke versus Oral Roberts. Duke is a 6-point favorite here. I'm gonna put this. I have Duke going to the Final Four. I have Duke coming out of this region, but as you said, Memphis is going to be a tough matchup for them should they meet in the Sweet 16 here. But this game scares the shit out of me. Oral Roberts is a team that obviously is familiar with making a run in the tournament to the Sweet 16 a couple years ago. But I have Duke advancing, but I want to take the 6 with Oral Roberts here.
I don't hate taking the 6 with Oral Roberts. I didn't myself. I laid it with Duke, but it's a 3-point game on a neutral. So at 6.5, it's either the books were knowing that Duke money was going to come in, or they don't really like the fact that 3.5 number. So I don't really know about that one, but look, this Duke team, I understand for everybody's thinking like, well, why do these guys like this Duke team so much? They haven't really done much. Their best road win is Syracuse, or I guess North Carolina. Look, they're playing. They haven't been healthy this whole year. There's been times where Jeremy Roach has been hurt. Tariq White has been hurt. Proctor's been hurt. I mean, I don't think Ryan Young's been hurt. Derek Lively's probably missed a couple of games. So you're dealing with this like smodge podge BS with all these guys, and then all of a sudden, around February 14th, 15th time, they start getting healthy again. And it's win. And then all of a sudden, there's no red on their schedule because all these guys are back healthy and ready to play. Do I worry about John Shire being a first-year head coach? A tiny bit, but he's been on that bench with Coach K for a while, so it's hard for me to really think that they're going to just blow it here. Look, this Oral Roberts team is another one that I would love with Max and Connor Vanover. I mean, there's no question about that. I mean, Vanover is a 7'5" monster. So, Whitehead and Mark Mitchell and Derek Lively, all those guys are going to have their hands full as well. But you're going to have Jeremy Roach on Max Abmas, and then, Proctor. I mean, all those guys guarding. It's just really hard for me to like Oral Roberts here. I don't love laying the 6.5. I have Duke in a couple money line parlays. I do think Duke wins this game, just like you said. A couple big glaring issues for Oral Roberts. First of all, their size, 156 in the country to Duke's number 1, which is going to lead to those bad rebounding numbers. Offensive rebounding percentage is going to be huge in this game, especially if Oral Roberts isn't making shots. Oral Roberts, one of the worst offensive rebounding teams in the country, number 305. Duke, one of the best rebounding teams in the country, defensively, number 68, offensively, number 8. So all they do is go get it. I think Duke probably smokes them here.
Wow. Okay. I haven't placed a bet yet on Oral Roberts. You might have just convinced me the other way. But yeah, that's a lot of Duke love. And does it scare you at all that Kyle Kerms tweeted this morning, there's no shot Oral Roberts beats Duke?
No, it doesn't scare me. A little bit, I guess I should, but yeah. He's got another ass cheek. He can get another tattoo.
Yeah, I was just like, that's a brave man right there when I woke up and saw that on the feed. Um, Tennessee is the 4 seed taking on 13 seeded Louisiana. Tennessee is an 11.5 point favorite. Obviously missing one of their primary ball handlers. A team that also didn't really make a deep run in the SEC tournament. That being said, I don't think they're going to go deep in this tournament, but I think they smoke Louisiana in this game. I think it's a really bad matchup for the Raging Cajuns, and I like Tennessee to roll here. Do
Yeah,
you
that's one of my favorite bets. It's one of my favorite bets on the board.
love it?
No question about it. One of my favorite bets on the board here. I was actually just talking about this because I saw somebody else, one of the shot quality guys, post about them not having their point guard, and I kind of made a backhanded comment, and he pretty much was able to come up and talk about how it's not really going to affect them, and it's kind of true. Look, Ziegler's really good. There's no question about that, but Vescafe's a senior. Tyreek Key's a senior. The Mashkett kid's a senior. Julian Phillips, he's a freshman. They got a lot of senior guys on this team. So it's really hard for me just to think, I mean, do I love Zakai Ziegler? Absolutely. But at the same time, like, I'm not super worried when you have a lineup of Vescafee, Mashkett, Jordan James, Nuamba, and Aldo, or whatever that kid's name is. If I didn't pronounce their names right, I apologize. But that five is fine with me. And then you're going to face a Louisiana team that I don't know how they beat that South Alabama team in the Sun Belt Finals. I'm still not over that. But they got the W. Look, everybody in the world seems to be betting Louisiana, and I truly can't figure it out to save my freaking life. 65% of the bets, 74% of the money is on Louisiana. It makes absolutely no sense. I think Tennessee probably wins by 15 plus. So put me down for a Tennessee moves on. Tennessee minus 11.5.
Love it. Yeah, shot quality makes the game just under 17. So
Even better. Even
15,
better.
16 points. Let's get it done. Comfortable, no sweater victory here for the Vols. Now, this next game is interesting. Kentucky taking on Providence. Kentucky is a 4-point favorite. I know me and you, I believe you are, but I believe we're both on the Kentucky Wildcats here to absolutely not dismantle, but I feel like there's going to be a cover here for Kentucky. But it's interesting. People that I see online and a few shows that I was listening to, there's actually a lot of people that like Providence here in the betting space.
Yeah, this one has me. It's really, really. Damn. Am I still there?
Yes, I got you.
Okay, we're good. Dude, sorry. I'm so sorry. Bro, I was shocked when I saw this because I love Kentucky. I think they're going to move on, but 62% of the bets, 76% of the money is on the Wildcats as we speak right now. We all know about Ed Cooley as a dog, but I can't do it. I can't bet Providence here. I would love to. I truly, truly would. But I truly think that we're going to get a Kentucky team that's absolutely pissed off here. I understand Vanderbilt's just not a great matchup for them. It is what it is. I'm not going to try to sit here and try to explain why and whatnot. Even with Robbins down, they just were able to. I don't know if Kentucky's hedge really was in that game, but if you isolate here this game against Providence, again, we talk about guard play and height. Guard play will kind of give it a wash because, to be honest with you, I do trust Bynum and Devin Carter and whatnot from Providence, but it's the skill level that's going to get me the skill, the height, and everything else that we talk about. First of all, Toppin, Wallace, Antonio Reeves, Chris Livingston, CJ Frederick, all those guys for Kentucky, obviously huge recruits that you got to love, but the height advantage as well. 92nd in the country for Duke, 277 for Providence. Providence is a tiny team. Where they usually have an advantage rebounding, I don't think they're going to have that advantage against this Kentucky team, especially with Oscar Tshiebwe in the middle with them. and just to point that out, Providence number 16 in the country in offensive rebounding percentage, which is great. But unfortunately, Kentucky's number 2 in that same category. Kentucky's got the better offense. They've got the better defense. I'm not sure if I want to lay it with Kentucky here, but with all the bets and the money on Kentucky. But I do think that Kentucky moves on and wins here today. I truly think they're going to play Memphis or Duke here later in the tournament.
Love it. Yeah, I have them moving on as well. Oh, sorry. Next game up is Kansas State versus Montana State. Kansas State is an 8.5-point favorite. This is another game where I'm looking at taking the dog plus 8.5 here with Montana State. They're just a huge team. I think they're going to be able to control the glass and stay in this game here with Kansas State in the paint. Kansas State's not a team. They had a very good season, honestly. No, I don't think anybody saw Kansas State being a 3 seed in the tournament and competing in the Big 12 as efficiently as they did this year. That being said, I'm not saying I'm advancing Montana State or anything, but I do think the 8.5 points are valuable here with a team. Like, I was surprised when I actually went back and looked into this Montana State team. They're huge.
Oh, yeah, dude. Montana State and Raekwon Battle about to whoop that ass. Watch yourself. Yo, people don't know who Raekwon Battle is and Jabari Bello and stuff, but they're about to find out now. That's 6'5" and 6'9" coming at that ass. Senior and junior. Look, I understand that Kansas State has been really good in the Big 12. The three-headed monster, Marquise Noel, Keontae Johnson, Stills, Tomlin, Cam Carter. I get it. But they're tiny, 3'11" in height. They turn the ball over a lot, 299 in turnover percentage. Montana State's defense, number 74, in turning it over. They don't Kansas State can offensive rebound, but Montana State can rebound. Montana State's a better free throw shooting team. The one thing that Kansas State does very well is defend the 3-ball. Montana State don't shoot 3 balls. They play inside. So I just think this is too many points. And I love the money bet split. 46% of the bets are on Montana State, but almost 75% of the money. What does that tell me is a better? That tells me the wise guys like the points. I'm going to follow the wise guys. I'm going to take the 8.5. And I'm probably going to sprinkle a little bit on the money line as well. That could be a little West Coast bias in me, but this Montana State team, like I said, Raekwon Battle, know that name because you're going to see it this weekend.
Nah, I like it. I hope that money line bet gets home because I did advance Montana State in my bracket over the Kansas State Wildcats here. Their size is just going to be too much, I think. And I can't wait for Montana State to win and for me to post your clip of saying they're going to beat that ass. Bold statement. Now we move on to Michigan State versus one of Toast's teams, USC. Michigan State is a 2-point favorite here. I'm going to go out on a limb. Maybe you're going to say I'm wrong, but I think you're going to be on the Trojans here, not only for your love for USC, but because you hate Sparty.
Goddamn right, dude. Fight on. Trojans, baby, Trojans. Look, the Trojans are one of the rare teams in college basketball that ranks top 50 in offensive and defensive efficiency. They really do not let you play or get anything inside. So you're gonna face this. You're gonna make this Michigan State team shoot 3 balls all over the day, all over. I don't really trust that. You got a USC team that not only lost in this tournament last year in the first round, but they're led by 2 seniors, Boogie Ellis, Drew, Peter Pan. I don't miss shots. Peterson. They both average double figures. They don't really have a lot of depth, so I'm not going to really take USC to make a huge run here. But I'm getting a Sparty team that, I mean, do you really afraid of Tyson Walker and AJ Hogard when Izzo's yelling at them and they're arguing? I don't really know. That's all kind of semantics. But at the same time, USC is large. Andy Enfield has been fantastic in the NCAA tournament. I don't have his number up, but it's like a 65-70% winning percentage, even with last year's losing, because he had that run at Florida Gulf Coast and stuff as well. So Um, public heavy on Michigan State, 70% of the money, 77 of the bets on Michigan State. Fight on, baby. Trojans +2 and they win.
Love it. You music to my ears because I am all over the Trojans on the money line as well. Now to close out this bracket, we have 2-seeded Marquette versus Vermont, who won the American East conference. Marquette is a 10.5-point favorite here. I'm assuming we're going to have Marquette advancing. I haven't got there yet, but I believe you don't have Marquette winning. I was actually going to bring up because I assumed you were going to have Marquette advancing, but Shaka Smart has lost 6 straight first-round games as a head coach in the NCAA tournament. I was actually going to ask if that scared you because I assumed you were going to take Marquette.
I am not taking Marquette. I am all over the Vermont Catamounts here today, man. Look, I'm taking the points. I'm going to sprinkle the money line just because I do not trust Shaka Smart. I don't think that Tyler Kolek is that fantastic. I'm a Cam Jones fan, but yeah. Dylan Penn, Aaron Deloney, Flynn Sullivan, Robin Duncan. You don't know the names. You're going to know them soon because they're about to knock off this Marquette team. Look, Vermont shoots the lights out of the ball. 36% shooting from deep on the season from three. Marquette cannot defend the three ball. 258 in defending the three ball. Look, I just, this team, Vermont, can shoot the freaking lights out of the ball. You're getting everybody on Marquette, everybody thinking that Marquette is going to do all this stuff. I think that Vermont can really, really give them a run for their money. I don't want to say Vermont is like a St. Peter's this year because they're going to run into a buzzsaw in USC in the next round. But I am not convinced. I will have Vermont in the Sweet 16 in a couple of my brackets. That's how much I like this team. We'll see how it goes. But you have to try to look for teams and find teams that not everybody else is going to be on. Vermont is going to be one of those teams for me.
I love it. Great case made for Vermont to pull the upset.
Oh,
off.
And one last thing. They take care of the ball as well. Top 25 in assist to turnover ratio as well. So they can find you and they don't really give it away. So obviously Marquette's tempo and all that stuff is going to put pressure on this team. But I think Vermont can handle that with their ability to pass.
Love it. I love it. Vermont, get Shaka Smart and the Golden Eagles out of here. I'm more of a anti-Big East guy anyway as a Nova fan. If they're not in it, I don't want anybody to win it from that conference. So Marquette being out early would sit right with me. Now, I asked you in the last bracket, give me this bracket. Who comes out of this one?
I'm going to say Kentucky, personally.
Ooh, I like it. I actually was advocating to a few people that I know, I believe like a week before the SEC tournament. Kentucky was sitting out there as a national champ at plus 4,500, and I'm like, that is value in my opinion. But then I kind of felt worse about it after watching them play in the SEC tournament. But I was like, maybe I was rushing a little fool's gold. But that's a team that's talented. And as you said previously, they have a coach who's been there and done it before. Huge. And this ain't your normal Kentucky team either. They're not just a bunch of group of one and dones. They actually have some veterans on that team this year. So I could definitely see that happening. I personally have Duke, but as I told you before the show, I've changed my bracket 85 times already since Sunday, and I'm sure I'm going to change it 85 more.
Just really quickly on that Kentucky point, everybody in general is used to Kentucky having all these freshmen, and Carson Wallace and Chris Livingston are definitely freshmen, but you also have Antonio Reeves, CJ Frederick, Jacob Toppin, Oscar Shibwe, all seniors and juniors that really know how to play the game. So it's not your typical Kentucky talented kid team. These kids have been pressured. These kids have been in these situations before, whether here or at other schools. Yeah, there's something about it, man. There's just something about this Kentucky team that I don't know. I could be wrong, but I'm just falling in love with it. As long as they don't have to play Vanderbilt, we're going to be all right.
I like it. I like it. I could definitely see Kentucky coming out of here. Um, yeah, and if it's them versus Duke in the Elite Eight, that would be a great game, in my opinion. Now, moving on to the Midwest region, the Houston Cougars, who are hoping to be able to get Marcus Sasser back. I'm assuming he won't play here in round one, because you probably will not need him versus Northern Kentucky, as Houston is a 19.5 point favorite. Um, that being said, I think Houston has a bad taste in their mouth after losing to Memphis the way they did in the finals of the American Conference Championship. And I think this is our laughter score of the first round. I think Houston might win this game by pushing 40. I'm laying the
Yeah,
19 here with the Cougars.
I can see that. I'm not laying the 20 yet. I haven't yet, but I have no way to see Northern Kentucky even comparing in this game. I mean, they have one kid. What's that kid's name? Marcus Warwick, that shoots like has like 20 points a game. And then the Brandon kid, I can't think of his first name. Chris, I think Chris Brandon. You have those two guys, but Houston has like 7 guys that can shut those 2 guys down. So if you take those 2 guys off of Northern Kentucky, it's kind of hard to see them doing much. So even if Marcus Sasser doesn't play, you have the ACC Defensive Player of the Year in Jamal Shed to take his spot. So it's really not that big of a deal.
Agreed. That's why I wouldn't even play him. I wouldn't risk it. I would let him get more rest. You're gonna roll through Northern Kentucky regardless. Let them rest up and then get ready for either Iowa or Auburn here as the 8-9 matchup. Auburn is a 1 point favorite right now over the Hawkeyes, and it's Fran in the tournament, always looking to fade. That being said, this is a toss-up. I haven't placed a bet yet. I'm leaning Iowa here, but maybe you can make a case for Auburn or solidify Iowa for me. Hold on, Toast. You're frozen on my screen. Damn, we might have not lost them, but all right, he dropped. Hopefully, we'll get him to come back right here as quick as he did earlier. Sounded like he was gonna there. Oh, here we go. And he's back. There we go.
Sorry, dude. I'm in a hotel. I got shitty Wi-Fi.
All good. If you missed the beginning of the show, Toast is in Arizona checking out the World Baseball Classic. So he's going above and beyond here, joining us from the hotel room to give out his analysis for this NCAA tournament. But we were talking Iowa Auburn. Who do you like?
I really like Auburn. I'm sorry, I really like Iowa here. I understand that Fran, like you just said, like there's no question about that. That Iowa in the tournament hasn't been great, but Hawkeyes one of the best offenses in the country. But the thing is with me is that Auburn, I don't really trust them. They started out really hot. They're like 3-8 their last 11. That Broom kid has been really good for them, but they're not a team that I can trust to shoot very well. So I'm not trying to say that I think that Iowa blows this team out. I'm sure it's like a 7-point game with a couple minutes to go or give or take or something like that. But I trust the Iowa shot makers 10 times more than I trust the Auburn shot makers. And that's
All right, we're having some trouble here with Toast. Dropped again. Hopefully, it's been working for most of the show, so hopefully it's just a temporary thing. Um, and hopefully he comes back real quick again. Um, damn, because I really wanted to get his insight on this next game, as well as hear what he was saying about Iowa and Auburn here coming up. So I'm gonna give him a couple minutes. Hopefully he's able to come back. As always, Toast's picks will be on the Sauce Network. You can get that at kylecurtains.com or on the Sauce Network app. Um, every pick, Toast is one of the best college basketball guys in the country. In my opinion, he's an opinion who I normally don't really give a shit what anybody else's opinion is, because that's how you end up confused trying to make bets. But um, he's in a guy's opinion I really value. And we're back.
Sorry, dude. We'll just have to run through it fast because it's like cutting in and out. I just feel so bad.
Nah, you're good, dude. Completely understand. You're in a hotel. All right, so we're on Iowa, both of us. Love it. I was leaning them. You solidified it for me. Go Hawkeyes. This next matchup is a game I really was anticipating asking you about. Drake and Miami. Drake is a 2.5 point favorite over the Hurricanes here. I wanted to take Drake, but I feel like everybody else in the world also wants to take Drake because I don't trust Miami's defense. I don't know if they're going to be fully healthy, but maybe you can make a case for the Canes or Drake here.
I would love to take. I would love to take Drake too. I think that what we saw. I think a lot of people saw what they did in that Missouri Valley Conference title game with the Tucker DeFries legacy game. Stupid. But it's him and Robin Penn. It's him and Robin Penn. Those are the two guys. I understand that Miami hasn't looked fantastic, but at the same time, you have Isaiah Wong. And multiple other guards. I just think it's going to be too much. I understand Miami doesn't play defense. I really don't trust that. But at the same time, you got Jordan Miller and Isaiah Wong and Nigel Pack, all these guys that can get buckets. It's just really hard for me not to like this Miami team. They're one of the more hard teams to like in the country. Like, there's no doubt about it. But at the same time, I do think that they've shown especially over the course of the year, winning games on the road, which they haven't done in the past. They're 3-1 against the top 25. So when they've gone up against good competition, they've fared well against them. So I would take Miami probably on the money line. I mean, the bets and money are pretty split. It's 55% of the bets are on Miami, but 52% of the money is on Drake. So very split game right there. Probably one of the more harder games to pick in this first round. Very similar to USC, Michigan State type of game like that. Really hard to get to a side. Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, same type of thing.
Got it. Sounds good to me. I might be on the Hurricanes here because that's my favorite football team. So I have a.
I got a Miami tattoo. I got a tattoo of you on my ankle. Trust me, I feel you.
Yeah, and we're talking about a Hurricanes team that made the Elite Eight last year. And was the team that got through USC early in the tournament, much to our chagrin, because we both were on the Trojans in that game. But that being said, that's a team that knows how to get it done, and that's extremely valuable in this tournament. Now we have Indiana, Kent State. This is a very interesting matchup because I think Indiana is one of the more underrated teams, I think, in the country. Obviously, injuries hindered how far they're actually going to be able to go in this one. I believe a fully healthy Indiana team could make a run. That being said, Kent State is good. Kent State is good. I haven't made a bet in this game. I'm actually leaning towards laying it here with the Hoosiers, but I don't know if I can fully fade this Kent State team.
Oh, I can fade the shit out of them. Give me Indiana Give me minus the 4. Give me -5. I don't really care. I am all over Indiana here today. I think that they are going to smash this Kent State team. Sincere Carey is going to have to be guarded by a multitude of guys. It's just for me. It's just I just don't see the matchup advantages that other people see. I can understand how Kent State can be good. I get that. But again, I'm like a broken record. Height, guard play, defense. Height, 345 for Kent State. Height, 20 for Indiana. Defense, 42 for Indiana, 38 for Kent State. So you have a little bit of I guess they're the same there. 3-point shooting. Kent State, 217 in the country. Indiana, 35th in the country. Both teams can't shoot free throws really to save their life. So you're going to give me an experienced Indiana team that's played the 12th hardest schedule in the country, getting a Kent State team that's played the 188th schedule in the country that's a lot smaller and that's been playing teams like Akron, Toledo, and Northern Illinois. Penn State is a really good team. That's why they lost. Jalen Pickett, all those guys, they're good. So a Maryland team, Indiana just beat a good Maryland team. They beat Purdue Purdue a couple weeks ago. They beat Illinois a couple weeks ago. Rutgers at home. They beat Purdue twice, actually. So, again, there's no question this Indiana team can get wins. Will they get Xavier Johnson back? I don't know, but it doesn't matter. It's Trace Jackson Davis. It's Jalen Hood-Schifino. It's Trey Galloway. It's Race Thompson. That's all that really matters. You give me those guys in the lineup. Indiana -4. Lock it up.
Love it. And also I said I didn't get to the window yet, leading Indiana, but like you said, Sincere Carey, very good player. But Indiana definitely has the more deeper and more talented overall roster. And also on top of everything you just said, I just looked at shot quality. They actually make this an 11-point win for Indiana. So that's a 7-point advantage according to the shot quality model. Yeah, I might go ahead and lock the Hoosiers in as soon as we get off air today. Next game is Iowa State versus the luckiest team in the country, the Pitt Panthers here. And I'm gonna find, there it is. Iowa State is a 4-point favorite. I actually like this Iowa State team. I have them in my Sweet 16. In my bracket, and I think I'm going to go ahead and lay this 4 here versus Pitt, who should have lost last night, which is you get done a Pitt win, and you're like, yeah, they probably should have lost that game.
Yeah. This one is extremely hard for me. Pitt's freaking lucky. They shouldn't have won that game last night, but I don't know if I can bet Iowa State without Caleb Grill. Like, I understand how well that they looked, I guess, against Baylor, but it just seems like they have Baylor's number. If you take a look at any other team that they've played against Baylor, and I understand that these teams are much better than Pittsburgh, but it's all losses, man. It's all losses. So I just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 losses for Iowa State since January 28th. Only 1, 2, 3, 4 wins, 2 of them being against Baylor. But the 4 wins were Baylor twice, Kansas, and TCU. So no teams to sniff at. But for me, I don't know. I want to see where the money is on this one after a day or so coming in through. But I do think that Pitt could be maybe writing a little bit of a Cinderella story type of showcase thing. I don't know. But I will say this. It's really hard for me to get behind the Cyclones. I understand that Gabe Kalshire and Jaron Holmes have been pretty damn good for them, but I'm just not there. I think that Pitt can probably get it done. Blake Henson's pretty damn decent. They've got a little bit of depth, and Capel knows what he's doing from his time at Duke as well. So I give a little bit of a coaching advantage to Pitt as well. But I haven't made a play on it yet. Iowa State would have to be pretty public for me to take Pittsburgh on a single game action.
Got it. Yeah, it might just be my personal bias saying Pitt can't keep getting away with this, which is why I
You got to
wanted.
understand, bro. You got to understand. Me and three other guys had picked to win the ACC at $150 at I think plus 20,000. So it was to win 30,000. So that loss to Notre Dame lost us about $30,000.
Yeah, I would be fading that team every day if I was you, but you're better than
I'm
me.
so fucking pissed off. I did last night and I lost.
Yeah, exactly. They keep finding a way
And
to
they were
screw us
super
over.
public. Oh my god. Whatever. Let's get over this.
Next
Let's
game
talk
up
about
is
the next game.
Xavier versus Kennesaw State. Xavier is a 12.5 point favorite. Um, Again, I don't think I'm gonna have a play in this one. I would lean X, honestly, but I don't really love them. But Kennesaw State is a team that I feel like is not very good at all. They broke our hearts by beating with the 1 point win over South Alabama. I'm sorry, Queens. 1 point win
Yeah.
over Queens, not South Alabama. Both of those were heartbreakers, though. But that being said, it would be Xavier or nothing for me in this game, laying the 12.5.
Yep, love Xavier here. One of my favorite plays on the board. Xavier minus the points. It's not even a question for me. Only 71% of the money on Kennesaw State. I honestly, truly think that Xavier absolutely destroys them here today. Here coming up. As much as I would love to try to find the dog here with Kennesaw State, I truly don't even understand what people are truly seeing. Xavier's more experienced. Again, broken record, height. Xavier, 26th in height. Kennesaw State, number 337. 3-point field goal percentage. Xavier, number 3 in the country. Kennesaw State, number 233, defending it as well. Xavier, number 8 in the country in offensive efficiency, 9th in effective field goal percentage. Kennesaw State, 212 defending effective field goal percentage. There's no question that Kennesaw State can put some buckets in with Burton and Robinson and Youngblood, which is a great name, Chris Youngblood. But you have Sule Boom, Colby Jones, and Jack Nungy, Jerome Hunter, all these guys from Xavier. I hate Xavier. I hate betting on this team. They always seem to find a way to bend me over. So I hope it's not there, but I like them way too much not to bet them here today, especially with the public all over Kennesaw State.
Love it. Yeah, it was extra nothing for me. It sounds like it's going to be X for me. And I also obviously have Xavier advancing on in the bracket. Now that takes us to Penn State, one of the hottest teams in the country, taking on Texas A&M. Texas A&M is a 3-point favorite here. I think this is actually going to be a very intriguing game. The two guards, I believe, totally blanking on his name right now, but the point guard for Texas A&M, I think, is one of the more underrated players in the country. Totally spacing on his name right now.
Wade Taylor?
Yes, Taylor. I think he's one of the more underrated players in the country, but Penn State has two players, in my opinion, that are going to be the difference in this game, and also the style that Penn State likes to play. It's a lot different than what you'll see from other teams in the country. So I like Texas A&M, like Penn State was never on their radar until this bracket came out, obviously. So I think it's going to be tough for them to get ready for this. But as you said, Pickens, one of the best point guards in the country, and then also Seth Lundy, I think, is a legit NBA caliber 3-and-D guy in the future. And then Penn State shoots the shit out of the ball from beyond the arc. And I like them to not only cover the 3, but I think they also win in advance here and keep that hot streak rolling.
Yeah, I just think it's a bad matchup personally for Texas A&M because Texas A&M is big. They're able to bully you with their defense. They're not defense and rebounding is how Texas A&M wins games. But that's not how you're going to really beat Penn State because Penn State has shooters, like you said. Pickett, Lundy, Funk, and Winter all shoot 38% or better from three-point land. So you got 4 guys that can really shoot the ball well. Wade Taylor's the only guy on Mississippi State that can really shoot the ball like that. That's even close. We talk about it again a lot. Experience. Penn State number 1 in the country in experience. Texas A&M number 89. But honestly, it's what it's going to come down to. This is going to be a gross game to watch, but it's going to come down to Jalen Pickett backing down his defender with 10 seconds on the shot clock and putting a shot up and seeing what happens. So both of these, it's hard to make a case for this Penn State team defensively, but neither one of these teams are fast. Penn State's one of the slowest teams in the country, and again, Texas A&M isn't one of those teams that's going to run it up and down the floor to get points either. So they don't have the worst possession length, but it is what it is. So I like Penn State here. It might be a little bit public. I'm not positive, but either way, I like the Nittany Lions.
Love it. Yep. Go Knits for me as well in this one. Had a great run in the Big Ten tournament, and hopefully they are able to translate it here to the NCAA tournament. Now, the final game in this bracket is one of my Cinderella hopefuls. I think it's kind of BS that Colgate got a 15 seed. They're a returning NCAA tournament team. I thought they deserved a little more respect. I would have probably maybe gave them a 14 spot to where I would have had a chance to take them on an upset, but not versus Texas team. They have not faced a team that plays D like this Texas team. They haven't played a team that's as physical as this Texas team, and it would be Texas laying a 13.5 here or nothing for me, and I hate it because I really loved Colgate this year.
Yeah, I would love, to be honest, I'm actually going to lay it with Texas probably just because of the amount of money that's on Colgate. Like almost 80% of the money is on Colgate, plus the 13.5. I haven't bet it yet, so and I'll post it if I do. But I'm actually kind of looking at that just because shot quality has it as a 12-point game, give or take. But yeah, if the public continues to stay on Colgate, I'll probably take that. Like you said it perfectly. They haven't seen a defense that plays at the intensity like Texas does so far. And it's going to be pretty interesting to see how Colgate does. So we'll see what it is. If they start shooting some shots early and they're making shots, it could be a good one. Also, it would be one of these games that I don't say this a lot, but to look live, if Texas gets up early and then allows Colgate just like in the second half just to start bombing three balls, you might get some value there. So that's the only way I would look at it. It's really hard to make a case for Colgate to win this game.
Yeah, I don't think you can make one to win. I could hear to cover, but definitely not to win. So that's the end of the Midwest bracket. So who do you have coming out of this?
Houston.
Same. I feel like there's a lot of love for Texas, but I also think that's made Houston pretty valuable as a pick in this bracket. Yeah, same thing. I'm rolling with the Cougs.
And this is no secret, guys. I've been on Houston. I was on Houston last year. I didn't care about the injuries. I was on Houston at the beginning of the year. This year, that will not change until they lose. I love this Houston team. I don't care what conference they play in. I don't care all the bad things you have to say about them. This team is legit.
Love it. Yep. Houston Cougs all the way around here for us. Now the final bracket here, the West bracket. Kansas is the 1 seed. They're going to be taking on Howard. They are a 22-point favorite in this game. I don't love Howard. I don't love Kansas either, though. I think they're the second most fraudulent 1 seed in this tournament. Obviously, they are the defending national champs. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan, crazy about the Jayhawks here. But this is going to be a stay away for me because I honestly don't know a lot about Howard to where I feel comfortable taking the points. But I also don't like laying a number this big with the Jayhawks, who outside of Wilson, I mean, Dick has been solid this year for sure. But we just saw last week he has the ability to also go very cold from the field as well. I feel like Wilson's the only really consistent guy they have, and I don't like laying 20 some odd points with a team like that.
Yeah, it's really hard. So just really quickly about this Howard team, they don't play defense at all, but they can shoot the lights out. A couple names you're going to need to know if you're watching this game. Elijah Hawkins. Yeah, Elijah Hawkins is his name. He shoots the lights out from deep. Shai Odom is another guy that not a 3-point guy at all, but one of their better players. And then Jelani Williams, I think his name is. He shoots the rock pretty well. Jordan Wood also. Howard just has shooters. That's just what they do. There's no question about that. But Kansas does defend the 3-point line pretty damn well. there's no like huge experience, height, like advantage here. They're kind of the same. Just Kansas is a much better team. Um, it seems like everybody in the world is betting Kansas, so I'm probably going to put a half a unit on Howard plus the 22 ish. Shot quality has it at 21. 75% of the bets, 71% of the money is on Kansas. Look, really quickly with Kansas because I got to get going soon. But they have Jalen Wilson, Grady Dick, Juwan Harris, Kevin McCullers, KJ Adams, all fine players, but they might not have Bill Self. And Bill Self is the kind of the thing that keeps everything going. He's missed that Big 12 tournament. They said he's going to be back, but how much does that mess with their preparation? Again, I don't know. You're kind of pulling at straws at this point, but I'll take my chances with a 3-point shooting team that maybe Kansas doesn't have their foot on the gas the whole game and we catch like a backdoor cover. I don't know, but all that bets, all that money, I know the books don't give away free money. So my lean is Howard plus 22.
Love it. That's the same way I was leaning. I would never lay that with Kansas. 8-9, Illinois, Arkansas. We'll speed this up a little bit. I don't want to hold you up. But Arkansas, Illinois. Arkansas is a 2-point favorite, and even though they broke my heart last week, I was on an absolute heater. Started the week 11-0, and then Arkansas feeling good, getting on the plane. They're 13 at halftime, and they shit the bed and don't cover the game. Or even just win. Well, they were a dog in that game. So, yeah, they didn't win. They were up by 13, didn't win. That being said, I'm all over the Razorbacks here versus Illinois. I'm laying the 2, and I'm just going to let you in on a secret. I have the Razorbacks going pretty far.
Yeah. I'm going to probably sound really dumb, so you can clip this. Give me Illinois plus 2. Look, I don't really know first of all, I bet Arkansas earlier in the season to make the Final Four. So I'll just put that out there. I've got money on them to make the Final Four. Does it suck that they're dealing with some injuries with Nick Smith back? I think that's obviously you don't need me. If you watch college basketball, you don't need me to tell you that Nick Smith is going to be the wild card. He's a draft pick, or he's an NBA lottery draft pick. So him and Anthony Black together in that backcourt. And then you have Ricky Council, who can defend anybody in the country. There's no question about that. But Illinois can play some defense, and they also got some guys that can make some shots. Streaky as hell. I mean, Matthew Meyer and Terrence Shannon, they could go 0 for 15 or they could go 14 for 15 any given night. But you also have big guys like Coleman Hawkins in the middle. Again, the height, there's no height advantage. There's no experience advantage. Both teams are horrible shooting free throws. Both teams are horrible shooting free throws. I'll take the better defensive team in my mind, plus the 2, with these teams being extremely even to me. I can see both teams. I can make a case for both teams, but I'm going to take the points, fade the public a little bit with the better defense. Give me Illinois plus the 2. And I hate
it. Moving on, we have where am I? St. Mary's versus VCU. Now this is your conference, Toast. St. Mary's is
my conference.
Is a 4.5-point favorite over VCU. VCU, I mean, Dayton had every chance in the world to win that conference. Just couldn't make a shot at all in that second half. They were building houses with all the bricks they were throwing up there in that game. That being said, VCU made the tournament. They're taking on St. Mary's here, 4.5-point favorite. I want to lay it with St. Mary's, but I haven't made the window yet.
Start you walking over to the window right now. St. Mary's -4. One of my favorite bets on this board right now. Look, 74% of the money, 73% of the bets taking the points with VCU. Not a chance in hell. I don't really think people understand how good this St. Mary's team is. Look, everybody. Aiden Mahaney is a point guard that probably nobody knows his name unless you watch the Gonzaga game. That kid is a legit scorer, and what he was able to do in the game situations against the Gonzaga gives me confidence that they can do that against anybody in the country. Ace Baldwin is really good as a really good point guard for VCU. There's no question about that. but I think that St. Mary's has the advantage everywhere on the board. St. Mary's is a top 10 defense. Um, Neither team can shoot the free throws really well, but guess what? St. Mary's is a better 3-point shooting team than VCU. I just truly think that they're the better team in general. Randy Bennett has been at St. Mary's for a long time and does a very well in the tournament before. St. Mary's is going to slow this game down to an absolute crawl. They are one of the dead last teams in possession and tempo and possession length, 359 in tempo, 359 in average possession length as well. There's only, I think, 360 or 362 teams in college basketball. So this game will be an absolute crawl. I don't know if VCU is going to like that or not. I really, really like the Gales here today, especially with the public all over VCU. St. Mary's -5 without a blink of an eye.
Love it. Yep.
Or 4, sorry.
St. Mary's as well. The next game is Iona versus UConn. Iona, I feel like, is another team that's kind of a darling in the public eye with Rick Pitino coaching them. But there are some rumors swirling that Pitino could be taking that St. John's job once Iona loses in this tournament. Most likely going to be here round 1 versus UConn, at least in my opinion here. UConn's a 9-point favorite. I'm just a big fan of this UConn team. And I know, Toast, you pointed out last night, you had sent me a thing where of the last 22 national champions, 21 of the 22 were top 25 in adjusted offensive efficiency, and 22 were top 45 in adjusted defensive efficiency entering the tournament. UConn is on that list. Does that mean you're laying the 9 here with them round 1 versus Iona? I'm definitely advancing them.
Yeah, definitely advancing them. I'm thinking about laying it. I haven't bet it personally yet, but I wouldn't be betting Iona. Has nothing to do with the Rick Pitino stuff. I think that he's been trying to get a job in a Power 5 for a while now. But like you just said, UConn is very, very good all the way around. The only thing that they can't do is foul. That's the one thing that Connecticut has a problem with. They tend to be have a little bit of happy hands that can get themselves into foul trouble. But besides that, like I said, there's just there's just too much to like with this UConn team with Sanogo and then I haven't even talked about my guy Jordan Hawkins yet. That could just be a stud inside. Joey Calcaterra, all these guys, and then the big man, Jonathan Klingman. I don't know who's going to guard him. They got that Shima kid, I think his last name is on Iona, but Klingman is a 7'2" monster. I like UConn as well. I like them even more knowing that 62% of the bets and 70% of the money is taking the points. So I know I sound like a broken record, guys, but I've been doing this for a long time. I'd be laying, if I had to pick one, I'd be laying it with UConn, but no question, UConn advances.
Love it. Yep, same thing. UConn advances. Not sure if I'm going to take them 9. I don't think I would ever take Iona, but we'll see come game time because I like to have a lot of action out there because I'm a degenerate. That being said, we're moving on to TCU, Arizona State, Nevada. Actually, we're not going to move on to this game because we don't know who TCU is going to be playing in this one yet. They play the winner of Arizona State and Nevada tonight.
They'll play Arizona State and they'll whoop that ass.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, I said they're going to play Arizona State and they're going to whoop that ass next game.
All right, that leads us to Gonzaga versus Grand Canyon, a 3-14 matchup. Gonzaga is a pretty big favorite in this one. I'm trying to find the exact number. I believe they're laying,
14 and a half. 14 and a half.
14 and a half. Okay. I had already placed this bet anyway. I believe I got it at 14. You told me about this when the bracket came out, Sunday night. So I'm on Gonzaga. I would still lay it at 14 and a half. I would still lay it at 15 if that's what you get. Gonzaga is going to put up an offensive clinic in this one.
Yeah, Gonzaga minus 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. As long as you get it under 20, you're going to cash this bet. I mean, honestly, Gonzaga has been on an absolute tear lately. Ever since losing to St. Mary's on the road, they had a bad week from like January 20th to February 4th. But besides then, this team has been absolutely freaking rolling. I think they've won every game, like maybe except for one by double digits. But either way, they should absolutely destroy this Grand Canyon team. Uh, Scott Drew's done a really good job. Or, sorry, Bryce Drew, excuse me, has done a really good job with this Grand Canyon team. There's no question about that. One kid to watch on the Grand Canyon team, his name's Ray Harrison. Pretty decent player, but he's going to get locked up by Anton Watson, so he's probably not going to do much. But either way, Gonzaga should absolutely roll here today. The only thing that's a negative about this Gonzaga team going forward in the tournament is that free throw shooting, 244 in free throw shooting for Gonzaga. So that's just, I wouldn't worry about it today or for this game, but as we go later on in the tournament, just be careful with that and make sure to watch that Gonzaga free throw shooting during the tournament.
Got it. Good note for everybody out there. The 7-10 matchup in this region is Boise State versus Northwestern. Northwestern is a 1.5 point favorite. Again, I think this is much like 7-10 seeds tend to be. This game's going to be a toss-up, in my opinion, and I don't have a particular side. Honestly, I think I'm going to end up truly staying away from this game.
Yeah, so I got a bet, and I'm betting Boise State, and I ain't even worried about it. Boise State, the Broncos, on their way home. I just really think that this Boise State team is truly undervalued. Look, Marcus Shaver is a very confident point guard, but you got guys like Max Rice, who's a 6'5" kind of tweener player that shoots over 40% from three. He has an ORTJ rating of 108.7, which is like good for tops in the country. That doesn't even include 6'7" Tyson Dagenhart. Najee Smith is also 6'7". Northwestern has Boo Buie. There's no question about that. Both of these teams are defense first. There's no question about that. I just trust Boise State and the shot makers, and I also actually trust Leon Rice more than I trust Northwestern coach Chris Collins. Chris Collins, again, there's a lot of jokes and memes about them, but this Northwestern team isn't coming in here playing that great. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games, and the only game that they won was against Rutgers. And I guess it was on the road, but we also know that Rutgers hasn't been playing well over the last couple of weeks either, so it's really hard for me to get behind them. They lost their first game in the Big 12 tournament or Big 10 tournament as well. So you take Boo Buie out of the picture, make Chase Ajiz, or however you say his last name, beat you. Public all over Northwestern as well. I think that Boise State moves on here, and I actually kind of like it a lot. But I'm all over Boise State myself.
Love it. I did advance Boise in my bracket, but was not sure. Didn't really like a side here. But you did make a strong case for Boise here. And that's why I like talking to you about these games, because you can give me the final push that's needed to get to the window.
I'm not gonna like probably Boise State as we get deeper into the tournament, because they are not deep at all. But this first game, when they got all the energy and all that stuff, I'm all over Boise.
Love it. Now the final game of this first round is UCLA versus North Carolina Asheville. UCLA is a 17.5 point favorite. I think this UCLA team is super talented. Obviously, one of the best teams in the country. A lot of veterans on this team, and also a very good head coach as well. I would only lay the 17.5 here. Haven't done it yet, but maybe a bet for me. It would be 17.5 or nothing.
Yeah, it would probably end up being nothing for me. UCLA's dealing with a lot right now. They're dealing with some guys that are going to be hurt. I can't remember if it's Bailey or Clark that's going to get hurt. I'm pretty sure it's a Bailey that's the one that's hurt. No, it's Clark. So Jalen Clark is hurt. I'm pretty sure Bona's kind of beat up a little bit as well. I'm sure he's going to he didn't play last night, so their last game, Adine Bona. So that's 2 starters out for UCLA. I don't think that UCLA loses this game. There's not a chance in hell. Just not sure if I'd be laying the number with them. I would love to try to come on here and make a case for UNC Asheville. They do have Drew Pember, who, if you don't know him, he's a pretty good story. He's a 6'11" guy that shoots nearly 40% from deep. UNC Asheville can shoot the ball. There's no question about that. They're one of the best they're top 6 in 3-point shooting, but UCLA defends that as well very well. So, maybe if the public was super heavy, if the public was super heavy on UCLA, I would bet them, but they're not. 77% of the bets and money are on UNC Asheville at plus 17.5. So there's no way I want to be in that public cuckold there. So I would lean UCLA just because it's the fate of the public, but I probably have no action on this game, and I just advanced UCLA in my bracket.
Same, yeah. UCLA, easy advance. Probably not going to have a bet either myself. Now, this might be actually the toughest region to predict. Who comes out?
Gonzaga.
Gonzaga, okay.
Call me a homer. You can call me a homer all you want, and I'm not saying that you are, but I know I'll hear it a lot. But all I can tell you guys is this: I've been around this Gonzaga program since I was this big, and I've said for about 5 to 10 years now that Gonzaga will not win a national championship as a number 1 seed. They're going to have to come up. They're going to have to act like essentially that they're not going to be in this. It's be them against the world. And I really like their draw. I truly do. I really think that they can beat TCU. I think that Boise State can give UCLA a little bit of run because they're both slow defensive teams. And if UCLA is missing a couple of guys, it's maybe there. I'll take my chances with Gonzaga, UCLA. And then on the top of the bracket, like you said, you don't really trust Kansas. I don't really trust them either. I think that we can easily handle Illinois and St. Mary's, and I think that we're probably going to play Illinois or St. Mary's in that Elite 8 game, Sweet 16 game. So, I think that Gonzaga is a force to be reckoned with here. It's not just a homer pick. Maybe it is, but I think the Zags come out of here.
No, I can see Gonzaga. They're actually in my Elite 8 as well, and they're also one of the hottest teams in the country right now coming in. But I told you I had Arkansas going pretty far. I have Arkansas in my Final Four, a team that's made it deep the past couple years, 2 lottery picks this year, and a coach that knows how to navigate this tournament. Scary as hell as an 8 seed, obviously, but I don't trust Kansas, and I think Arkansas can make a run here. And if they get to Gonzaga in the Elite 8, I think that's going to be a very interesting matchup.
It'll be a fantastic game. That'd be a fantastic game.
Absolutely. Okay, gun to your head right now. Final question. National champ.
Houston Cougars.
Love it. They're my champion as well. I have them beating Duke right now in the national championship game, but I'm trying my hardest to find a way to remove Duke from that game. So I'm going to have to really look at it.
Yeah, I can see how it is. And just to give some credit to your Arkansas thing, Arkansas, just remember, guys, they've been in the Elite 8 2 of the last 3 years. So don't, as much as you'll hear me talk shit about Musselman too. Don't let the Twitter sphere take you off of an Arkansas bet. This team has been pretty good the 2 of the last 3 years. So it's really hard to make a case to say that Eric Musselman can't coach in the tournament when you go to back-to-back Elite 8s. So go ahead.
Right, yeah, and they're 16th in adjusted defensive efficiency, and I really value defense in the tournament. And like you said, Anthony Black, and obviously getting the other guy back is huge. 2 lottery picks with a coach who knows how to make it deep and a good defensive team. I love that recipe, and I think it's great value for an 8 seed to try to make the Final Four. And I think that's actually the bracket with the most parity, to where like a few teams have a really good shot to come out.
Yep, I feel you.
All right, that being said, I want to thank Toast for joining me. I'm going to let him enjoy the rest of his day. He's out in Arizona checking out the World Baseball Classic, among other things. Big game for USA tonight, obviously. You can check out his picks on kylekerms.com, the Sauce Network app. And then I will be on there as well and sprinkling plays all across Twitter. If you didn't miss this show, you can follow me at S Redden Sports, and you can follow him at ToastSams13. Right? No Y, right? The old one was the Y.
I think so. I really couldn't tell you.
I believe I checked it. Yeah, it's just Toast.
You're good. You're good either way. I appreciate it. Just don't sleep on Vermont, everybody. Do not sleep on the Catamounts.
All right. Best of luck, everyone. And Toast, thanks again.
Always, brother. I appreciate you.